Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker and today we're going to be taking a look at 10 day 1 fun decks to try after the release of Lorcana Set 4 Ursula's Return. Just the other day I released a video called 10 safe day 1 meta decks, which has turned out to be one of the most successful videos on the channel, so thank you so much to everyone that checked that out. I hope it was useful as a starting point to start to build meta decks as we head into season 4 of Lorcana. But yeah, I'm going to do a similar thing now, and now I'm going to present to you 10 fun / rogue decks that you could try. Now, I've taken a few of the major themes. We're going to look at pirates, we're going to look at musketeers, we're going to look at brooms. And I'm trying to find a balance between leaning in to the archetype while still trying to keep it as good as I feel it could possibly be, so that you can take these fun decks into tournaments and feel like you've still got some meta cards to hopefully perform well. They will range in how good they actually are, but again, the point of this is to just build some fun decks. So let's jump straight in and take a look. And if you're looking for some Lorcana singles, then check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. So we're going to start off with some Amber Steel Bodyguards. I had to build a deck based around the new legendary Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain, who was my reveal card for set 4. So, of course, we wanted to feature him. Now, as I said, I'm trying to find a balance between leaning into the theme but not doing it so much that we're denying ourselves a lot of the cards that could actually support this archetype. So this isn't really a Musketeer deck. We're only running 2 actual Musketeer characters. We're leaning into Bodyguards. But yeah, Mickey, when you play him, you have to use Shift. You draw a card for each Bodyguard you have in play. So I'm combining Amber and Steel, which gives us access to most of the Bodyguards. And yeah, we want to lean into Mickey and try and get a nice big draw turn off. But again, we need to actively be chasing our win condition. So I've gone for a very early to mid-range deck, which can hopefully draw us a lot of cards courtesy of Mickey or even the Beast Tragic Hero that we've got here. Because we need to shift Mickey, we're of course playing 4 copies of the new Steel Mickey Mouse, 2-cost Ingable 1/3. And when you play him, you can give a character Challenger 2. So we're always going to want to try and get this down on turn 2, or there may be worlds where we put this down on turn 4 along with something else, preparing us for a turn 5 Mickey shift. Sometimes we'll have to do it a little bit later than turn 5 depending on the board state, and again, if we're going to be drawing a lot of cards, we need to be careful of decks that are running a whole new world. We are running 3 copies of Bare Necessities to try and combat that. In terms of items, I've got 3 copies of Lanterns. Again, we want to try and flood as many Bodyguards as we can onto the field before we shift Mickey, so over the course of the game, I think this is going to help us to just spread to the board a little bit more, get some more bang for our buck. We're also running 4 copies of the new Fortisphere, which is a 1-cost inkable item. When we play it, we draw a card. Lovely, lovely. An Extract of Steel. We pay 1 and banish the Fortisphere and give any character Bodyguard. So that's why we don't need to have tons and tons of Bodyguards. We have the Mickeys, and then we have 3 copies of Simba Protective Cub and 4 copies of Keeda. You would always play, if you were playing 4 of this, then fine, but if you were ever playing more of one than the other, or only one or the other, then you should always play Keeda, especially if you're playing with Amber, because then they have to respect to a degree that you could play the Floodborn Keeda. But yeah, we've got those, and we've got 3 copies of the Donald Duck Musketeer Soldier, who, when he's played, you can give a lore pip to a character on board. So only 10 Bodyguards, but that should be enough. And again, with the Fortisphere, we can make any of our other characters Bodyguards as well. We're running 4 copies of Cinderella, Ballroom Sensation. We're also running 2 copies of the Stout-Hearted to be a more mid to late. Like we don't have a lot of big characters, so it's nice to have these Stout-Hearted. They're difficult to remove, and again, synergy with the Cinderella Ballroom Sensation, which we're running anyway because we're running 4 copies of Storm Rage on and 4 copies of Strength for a Raging Fire. We're not playing Whole New World in this deck. Again, it's counterproductive to what we're trying to do with Mickey. So yeah, hopefully the Cinderella going to get us a lot of value. If we go through the rest of the songs, we're also running 2 copies of Along Came Zeus for some spot removal, and also helps with locations. You could also find room for Rise of the Titans in here if you want, but we are running 3 copies of Benja. I'm really respecting items this meta. I think Red Blue is going to be really good. You need to get rid of that Fishbone Quill. You need to get rid of those ice blocks. So I really think we need to be respecting items. But again, Rise of the Titans can do items and locations, but I think this is a nice split. But if you want to mix this up to find room for Rise of the Titans, then be my guest. And running 2 copies of Grab Your Swords too, so that we can have a bit more board control. Because again, we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of really big guys that can test. Cinderella really is about it. And then we've got like these songs, Strength, Storm, and Zeus. But it's nice to have some spread damage and Grab Your Swords. We're running 2 copies of Aladdin to be another 1-drop. We've got the 4 Spheres and we've got the Cinderellas, but sometimes we just want a character down turn 1, especially if we're going second and if we're going second and they put down a Cursed Merfolk or something like that. It's nice to be able to play, to have more options for a 1-drop. Plus, again, we've got the 4 Sphere, so we can make anything a bodyguard. So there might be a turn where we want to play a couple of characters out. Maybe one of them's a Simba and then one of them's the Aladdin, and then we've got the 4 Sphere to give bodyguard to the Aladdin. So I think this is perfectly fine as a 1-3. We got 3 copies of Piglet to be an aggressive lore quester. Again, turn 1, Borum Sensation. Turn 2, one of our bodyguarders or Mickey. And then turn 3, Piglet. Again, we need to be chasing our win conditions, so let's try and put some pressure on early. The bodyguards and the Mickeys. Again, this Donald Duck is a bodyguard, and he can give a lore pip. So we can go Aladdin into Piglet, into Donald Duck, target the Piglet, and then he's questing for 4. And again, the Donald Duck bodyguard sticks around, hopefully, for when we get the Mickey down. Benjers, as I mentioned, respecting items. And Ling, who you're going to see in a few of these decks. 3-cost Inkable, 3/3, quest for 1, and full of spirit. Your hero characters get +1 strength. And nearly every character in this deck is indeed a hero, except Benja. Benja is not a hero. Everyone else is a hero. So this is going to be good, not just as a math fixer for challenging. Suddenly Aladdin's hitting for 2, which can make all the difference. And again, if you've got this Ling down and they're going into things like Piglet, Simbas, and Kidas, maybe there's more chance that you're actually trading if they're going into you with 3/3s. Again, also worth mentioning, this Mickey giving Challenger 2, like, is good for... That's another reason we're running this 1-drop Aladdin. Because if we go second, sometimes we want a bit more offense in the early game. So it's nice to be able to turn 2 Mickey Mouse, boost Aladdin up to a 3/3 and hopefully catch them off guard. But yeah, this Ling going to fix mass for us in a lot of places, and it's going to keep our Beast Tragic hero out of Madame Medusa range. It's also going to keep our Musketeer, Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain, out of Madame Medusa range, because that's a problem with it. The main problem with Mickey, well, and him being uninkable isn't great, but yeah, it just dies to Medusa. It doesn't really matter because the idea is hopefully you've already got your value, you've drawn 2 or 3 cards, but still, we can minimize the chances of them being able to so easily just pick them off. Then Ling's going to put in a lot of work, and even for these characters with 2 strength, now we're keeping them out of range of anything that doesn't like 2 strength characters, such as Cloud Kicker, and the Muses, and even the characters that only have 1 strength, like Cinderella and Aladdin. Suddenly they're not being picked off by Sisus, or even the Floodborn Sisu that wipes all 2 or less characters. Ling's going to help with that, so I think Ling's a really important card in this deck. And there you have it, just like a bit of aggro in the terms of Piglet. We can boost him up even higher with Donald. Benja quest for 2. And then yeah, we got ways of protecting Beast and Mickey. We're not very quick. Like it's not going to be a quick game by any means because we don't have a lot of high lore questers. But we can draw a lot of cards, deny them the whole new worlds of their own, deny them be prepareds and stuff like that with bare necessities. Then yeah, I think this is about as good as you could make the bodyguard archetype at the moment. Going on into trees, or brooms. So, the thing with brooms is when you're building Amethyst Steel, you put in so many cards where you just find yourself thinking, like, this is so much better if I just run Rabbit and Goat. And like, the package that Amethyst Steel has, all, like, different ways of building it are all pretty much better than most of these Broom cards. So you kind of purposely don't play as good cards just because you want to play the Broom archetype. But if we want to play Brooms, we want to play Brooms. But again, I've tried to make it as good as I can. You'll notice we're missing a couple of the Brooms. We've only got 2 copies of the Sorcerer's Tower, which really I don't think you should probably run any. But if you really want to run Brooms, you probably want to run this Sorcerer's Tower. So we have gone with 2. I'm not running the 3-cost Steel Broom, the one that gives resist 1 to one of your characters when you play it. And I'm also not running the Dancing Duster, the 6-cost uninkable 3/3. And if you play them when you have a sorcerer in play, you can exert an opposing character and they can't ready at the start of their next turn. It's a cool effect. 3/3 is not a big enough stat line on a 6-cost uninkable. The ability is situational. So I've had to make cuts somewhere. So I'm not running that, and I'm not running the 3-cost Broom. But we're of course running our 1-cost. We need these because we've got Yen Sid here who draws a card. when we have a Broom, so that gives us a nice curve, plus he quests for 3 if we've got 2 Brooms on field, so we want to be able to rush them in. We've also got the Mickey Mouse here, who when you play him, you deal damage to a chosen character equal to the number of Brooms you have in play. So again, we want to rush out as many as possible, so that's our 1-drop, but I'm also running 3 Olaf again, because we want a 1-drop down, and I am playing Madam Mim Fox here, just 3 copies. I'm not running Snake, and I'm not running Goat. I am running 3 copies of Crab. We just need a bit more control over the board, and Crab is so good, putting like these 1-drops up to 4 strength, and even these 2-drops suddenly are hitting hard enough to be able to contest the board. So I think you need to run at least some Foxes and some Crabs. Foxes have synergy anyway, because you bounce the Mickey to reuse the ability, you bounce the Sid to protect him / rebounce the reuse the ability, and don't forget we can bounce with Mickey Wayward Sorcerer. Obviously he lowers the cost of all Brooms by 1, and when he's on the field, if one of our Brooms is banished in a challenge, we can return him to our hand. So hopefully we're gonna like just retain advantage. We're gonna play these Brooms down, go into lots of things, return them to our hand, and hopefully in the long run outvalue our opponent. The long run, but all being well, we do that. So yeah, we got these Brooms. I'm running 2 copies of the 2-cost Broom. It is nice to be able to recycle. Oh, worth mentioning probably sooner rather than later, I'm playing Whole New World in this deck, which may seem counterproductive. We want to draw cards with Yen Sid and friends, but it doesn't matter. It's the same as running Whole New World with Beast. Like, you lean into whichever is the board states fits the most. So you've got options that you can either just keep drawing or you can go for the refresh. And for that reason, I have gone all in on these Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerers. If you weren't running wheels, I would say just 3 of these is fine. But I want to line to an early wheel so that hopefully I can get a couple of Brooms out and then get an early wheel, get a fresh hand, and then just play out more than they can deal with. Obviously, we have no ways of removing. We have no bare necessities. We have no Ursulas. We have no way of preventing their swords, their be prepared, things like that. So we want to flood the field but still retain our hands so that when they inevitably wipe our board, we can still do something. So yeah, that's carry on. Just two of these 2-cost Brooms, the Bucket Brigade. The Yen Sid, I've already mentioned, draw cards and quest high. We've got 4 copies of the Magic Broom Aerial Cleaner, who gets evasive during your turn. This is one of our well, it's an answer to Diablo, although we're running 2 Let the Storm Rage On and 3 Strength for a Raging Fire. Strength for a Raging Fire, you could go to 4, because again, your game plan is to spread wide, but sometimes again, you want to hold back some resources. You only want to have 2 or 3 characters on the board, which sometimes is enough. If you want to go to 4 strength, I think that's fine. Because we're running Whole New World, I don't think we need to go higher on the Storm Rage On, but I still think they're important for things like Diablos. But we've also got these 4 Steel Brooms for Diablos, and the fact that this 2-cost Broom has 3 willpower is a little better. The Mickey's obviously to shift onto, and again can give Challenger 2 to one of our characters. The Foxes, we are running 3 copies of the Big Sweeper, 3-cost Inkable 1/5. The 5 willpower is appealing. We're running 5 locations, 3 Queen's Castle and 2 Sorcerer's Tower. Queen's Castle is just better in every way. Really, this should just be 4 Queen's Castle and no Sorcerer's Tower. If you want to run Brooms, but you're not like, I need to run the tower, cut these towers, play an extra Queen's Castle, and then whatever else you feel like you want more of. But if you want to play the Sorcerer's Tower, I really wouldn't go higher than 2. Again, it's nice to have your Brooms move there for free, and you're questing for 1 more, but it's not getting you any passive lore gain. 9 times out of 10, they're then just taking out your Brooms and not even trading, and you could say, well, I'm going to have my Wayward Sorcerer Mickey down. Okay, well, then they're going to target that with Medusa, or even just lowering his strength by 1 with Ice Block and then removing it with something that takes out a 2 or less cost character. I think it's not reliable enough is my main issue. There's going to be some times where it works and you're going to go, Sorcerer's Tower, got me so much lore in 2 turns. Great. I don't think it's going to be consistent. But if you just want to have fun with Brooms and you want to try out Sorcerer's Tower, be my guest by all means. But yeah, with these locations, this Broom does become quite bulky. 3 crabs, as I mentioned, make any of these small guys just bigger and contest the board a bit more. The Wayward Sorcerers, if you can keep it, like, again, the ideal turn is they've got some things exerted and you've already got Brooms on the board, and then you play the Wayward Sorcerer out of nowhere and then you challenge with your Brooms, and hopefully, like, maybe it takes you 2 Brooms to take out 1 character, but then at least you're bouncing those Brooms back to your hand. And again, we've got the Bucket Brigade, who has a come into play ability. Again, the 3-cost steel one that gives resist 1 is a come into play ability. If you really want to find room for that one, then be my guest, but I don't know what I would want to cut. I suppose if you want to cut Sorcerer's Towers, by all means, but if you're going to do that, then do you need more Brooms? I think we've got enough. Again, we're triggering off of Yen, Sid, and Mickey are the guys that care about having Brooms on field. We've got 4, 6, 10, 13, 15. We've got 17 Brooms here. That's quite a lot. And not to mention that this Magic Broom, the 5-cost Inkable 4/4 with Rush and Quest for 2, can shuffle all your Brooms back into your deck once you've played him. So I think this is perfectly sufficient. Again, the Wayward Sorcerer, hopefully some big chip damage. He quests big. Resist 1 is good. Again, it's a shame about Madame Medusa. Maybe you want to be fair, he's the only hero in the deck, so I don't think Ling is getting anywhere near enough value. And the baby Mickey is a hero as well, but probably not worth. But again, if you can get your value just by putting him down and doing 2 or 3 ping and taking something out, then great. We're running 2 copies of the Brigade Commander, 6-cost Inkable, 2/6, Quest for 2, Resist 1, and this character gets +2 strength for each other character named Broom you have in play. So if we have at least one other Broom, then he becomes a 4/6, so at least he's out of Medusa range. So I think this is fine as a mid to late game, bigger body. Again, nearly everything here, you could just say, this could be Tinkerbell, this could be Yzma, this could be this, that, and the other, but this is as good as I've been able to make Brooms. Again, first impressions, again, with a lot more practice, a lot of these fun decks, there could be better ways of, maximising their potential. But these are all just my first impressions. 3 friends for the draw. Again, we're playing Whole New World, so I think 3 is fine. And I've talked through the rest of the songs. So, yeah, if you're interested in trying Brooms, but you want it to have a fighting chance, I feel like this is kind of the way to go. Feel free to leave suggestions in the comments of how we could keep it true to Brooms, but still make it a little bit better. But if you want to try some Brooms, be my guest, give this a go. Moving on to some Amber Ruby songs, which I don't think is going to be one of the better fun decks, but a lot of fun. It could be, to be fair. We've got 4 copies of Sleepy's Flute here, which is obviously getting us some nice lore game whenever we play songs. So let's go straight through the songs. We're running 4 copies of Painting the Roses Red, which lowers 2 characters' strength by 1 each, and you draw a card. So it's replacing itself. Hopefully we're tooting our flute, and lowering strength can get things into Madame Medusa range. We're only running 2 copies of Madame Medusa. I would recommend trying to find whatever you want to. If you start making changes to this list, I would prioritize probably getting at least a 3rd Medusa, maybe even a 4th if you can find the room. We've got 3 copies of Bare Necessities. Throw off those Be Prepared, grab your swords, the wheels, all that sort of stuff. We're running 4 copies of Teeth and Ambitions. This is mostly here as a Diablo answer. Our 1 costs, we're running 4 copies of Cinderella, Ballroom Sensation to sing quite a fair few of these songs nice and cheap, and 4 copies of Mini Always Classy, which is our preferred partner with Teeth and Ambitions. But yeah, we need an answer to Diablo, which is also why Ariel's here, who she has evasive. Also running 3 copies of Be King Undisputed. Really nice song, gets around ward. Sometimes we don't need the Be Prepared, sometimes it's just one thing that's causing us grief, so this is nice to have. We're running 4 copies of A Pirate's Life, where you gain 2 lore and each opponent loses 2 lore. 6-cost Inkable, so again, Sleepy's Flute gaining us lore. Pirate's Life is hopefully gonna help us make some big jumps. We should be able to get to this 6 cost quite easily, because we're running the 4 Ursulas with Singer 4, so then we only need a Ballroom Sensation Cinderella or anything of at least a 2 cost or less. 2 cost or more, I mean. The same is true for Look at This Family, which lets us look at the top 5 cards and choose 2 characters, help us find key pieces when we need them. Maybe we really need the Maui to answer something, the Medusa, the Goofy for a nice lore gain, the Rapunzel for the card draw, Ariel because we need to search for more specific songs. So I think this is nice, and again, you can get there quite easily with Ursa's and Ballroom Sensation Cinderella's. And not to mention, we haven't gone through the characters yet, but we're running 4 Ariels with Singer 7 and 1 Cinderella with Singer 9. 3 Be Prepared. Again, we don't have a lot of ways to contest the board. It's not really the idea of what we're doing here. We're running 3 Maui that can help with that, and a couple of Madame Medusas, and again, you might want to raise this count. But yeah, big red button, hopefully just going to control the board while we sing songs and toot our flute. And that's all the songs to go with it. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Ballroom Sensation Cinderella, she can sing these 2 cost songs nice and early. The 4 Mini to be another 1-drop, and we can put the damage from Teeth and Ambitions onto her. The Ursula, as I said, to help us sing songs. Ariel to help find the songs, and again, she's Singer 5, so she's going to contribute a lot towards the sing together mechanics. The 2 areas I mentioned as an evasive answer to things, or you could just make your characters evasive so they can sit there and just keep questing. I think this is flex. I think you could remove this if you wanted to. 4 copies of Ariel singing Mermaid, because literally all of these songs are online for her. So if we put this down turn 4, 4, we're immediately threatening. Be prepared. Look at this family. Lovely, lovely. And again, not the craziest stat line, but you quest for 2. 3 Rapunzel for some more card draw, because we don't have a whole lot. We've got Painting the Roses Red. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So 3 Rapunzel. You might want to make room for a 4th, but we don't have a lot of characters that have the willpower. To be fair, Ursula here has the 4 willpower. So yeah, you might want to find room for the 4th Rapunzel. I think that's perfectly reasonable. A couple of goofies here. Again, we're trying to gain lore in cheeky ways. Flutes, Pirate's Life. They're going to be challenging into us to get rid of our singers, so this could be a nice game closer. Just 1 copy of Cinderella with Singer 9, because again, we don't really need the Singer 9. So just I kind of think of this as just a 5th Ariel in a lot of ways. But again, the 5 willpower can help us stick around a little bit longer, and she quests for 2, and Beautiful Voices ability. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princess characters gain +1 lore this turn. This is a cool ability, but I'm not assuming us to regularly have a big board. Like, that's not really the point. We're going to put down... They're going to answer things very quickly. I don't think there's going to be many situations where we've got 2 or 3 extra princesses on the board as well, along with the Cinderella for a big quest turn. I don't think that's really the point here. But there might be times where it comes up, so maybe you want to add an extra Cinderella here. And yeah, I've talked through everything else. So again, just a nice bit of fun. Ruby princesses to a degree. But yeah, let me know if you try this one out, how it does for you. Next, we're looking at some Blurple. There were a few people in my video the other day that commented that we did not feature Blurple, and then some people that commented that we did not feature Isabella Madrigal, a golden child. 5 cost inkable, 3/4 quest for 1, evasive, and if no other character has quested this turn, then she gets an extra 3 lore. She's questing for 4, but of course if you do quest with her, then your other characters can't quest. But that's fine, we leave her to be our quester, and the other things just challenge, sing songs, sit at the Queen's Castle, things like that. Yeah, Dies to Medusa, which is the buzz phrase of the formats and prior format, really. So I think your best chance with Isabella is just get her down so that she's got long enough to get 1 quest off before they play the Medusa, which is why I think ramp is the best way to play it with her. We're running 3 copies of 1 Jump Ahead. It's our only ramp. You may want to follow... Oh, no, it's not. We are running 3 copies of Mickey Mouse. I was just about to say you might want to find room, and then I was also thinking the thought beyond that was, why didn't I find room? But I did. Go me. So yeah, we got 3 Mickeys and 3 1 Jump Ahead for the ramp. So yeah, we want to play one of these on turns 2 or 3 so that we can put Madrigal down on turn 4 so that we guarantee ourselves at least 1 quest. Nearly guarantee. Again, there are ways around it. But yeah, let's go back to the start. I'm running a 4 Rafiki, 3 Pascal, and 3 Olaf. I like the 4 Rafiki still. I suppose I'd like to find room for a Pinocchio in here. I still really like Pinocchio. And you probably should. If there's anything in here you don't like, I would recommend Pinocchio. And maybe without Pinocchio. No, I still like Rafiki. It's like just put him down early, contest the board. I think you could actually cut Rafiki because we're running 4 copies of Ursula. We're running a 4/4 shift package, who is very similar. She can sit there and check the board. So I think Rafiki is kind of flex, unless you want to add the Pinocchios. I think that could be a good idea as well. But yeah, Pascal's for the not only the Pegasus, who I should have mentioned in looking at previous lists. It's just good to have the evasive for the Pegasus as well as the Diablo. But yeah, we can also boost up with Crab to remove the Diablo. And we are running 3 copies of Cruella de Vil, who gets evasive during your turn, 3/2 stat line, to also deal with the Diablo. And 3 copies of Olaf. Again, I like this combined with Crab. I find you get so much gas out of a 1/3, being able to boost its attack strength with Crab, challenge something, and then you normally stick around and survive, and then you're there to be something else that's questing that they've got to deal with, or maybe then you bounce the Crab back to your hand, and then you put 3 on him again. I just think I love having a 1/3 with Crab. I'm a big fan. We're running 4 Snake to bounce things back to our hand. As I said, we're running the Ursula shift package. The Floodborn, I think, is really nice. Again, it's another early line we can take, because if we can put Ursula down on turn 2, and then turn 3, we either Mickey or we can sing 1 Jump Ahead. Then turn 4, we can get down Ursula Sea Witch. And I think against Steel Amber Songs decks, which unfortunately, I really think Red Blue are just going to push out the format. But if they do survive and adapt, then stopping them being able to exert the sing songs is crazy. That's the problem with Ursula's ability. Yes, characters can't exert to sing songs, but a lot of decks, they don't care. They just pay for it. But things like Steel Song, really, they get their value by singing their songs with their Robin Hoods and things like that. So if we can just shut that down straight away, then we're gonna burn through their tempo so quickly. And again, really nice stat line. She quests for 3. We can exert character. Yeah, to be fair, we don't need the Pinocchio. We can exert with Ursula. So yeah, I think Rafiki's probably still probably still flex because we've got the baby Ursula. You could definitely mess with these counts. But yeah, I really like this. Quest for 3, out of Medusa range, out of Zeus range. Lovely, lovely, lovely. The Cruella de Vil for the evasive. The 4 Fox, of course, board control. The Crab, lovely, lovely, lovely. Make all of these smaller characters bigger. Mickey for the ramp. We're running 2 copies of Dolores Madrigal, 4-cost inkable 3/3 quest for 2. And when you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, you may draw a card. Drawing cards is king. We've got we're not running Maleficence, we're running Friends. We've got 4 rabbits here coming up next. Again, rabbit's one of the best cards in the deck. And yeah, Dolores is basically a mini rabbit. Again, her ability is conditional, but having an exerted character is not hard. The opponent having one is not hard to fulfill, or we could exert them with Ursula. So yeah, I think this is nice, and she quests for 2. So again, just think of them as just extra draw cards. You could instead go the Maleficent if you wanted, but I think the 3 drops is too busy because we've got Mickeys, Foxes. You could play Maleficent, but we don't have many 4 drops other than the rabbits and the cards. So yeah, I think the Dolores is nice. As I said, Isabella hopefully going to cheat us out a lot of lore. We've got Yzma for some board control and some more draw for ourselves. Hades for removal. It's pretty much our only removal that we've got. 2 copies of Elsa. Again, just slow the opponent down. We're exerting characters that way as well, so that's got nice synergy with Dolores. And again, this Hades and this Elsa can be bounced back to our hand through Snakes and Foxes, so we love it. I've looked at the songs, and then 3 copies of Queen's Castle, which I still think is really, really strong, especially into a meta with so many characters that care about character strength. Sisu is the one I keep bringing up. I really think, ever since I've discovered this ice block deck, I'm so scared. I'm so scared of this ice block. I really am, and I think some of you should be too. But yeah, Queen's Castle still really good. Demands an answer, gaining lore, draw us more cards. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So yeah, this is my starting point for Blurple. I definitely think you could flex. If you're not a fan of the Ursula line, by all means. But if you're not running this Ursula line, then I would keep the Rafikis. I think you could find room for Pinocchio. There's a lot of synergy here. Rafiki's going to like it. Dolores is going to like it. So yeah, if you like Pinocchio, then I think finding room for that is good. But yeah, that's Blurple. Next up for Amber Steel, we've got Trainer of Heroes, taking advantage of a very hyped card. 4-cost inkable Philatites, 2/3 stat line quest for 2. Your hero characters gain Challenger 1, and Shameless Promoter. Whenever you play a hero character, gain 1 lore. So to do this, I am taking advantage of Rockstar Stitch, who obviously has the ability of drawing fans. Whenever you play a character with 2 cost or less, you may exert it to draw a card. So how many heroes have we got? I think everything here except Ling, which is weird because he buffs heroes, but never mind. Except Ling and Rapunzel, everything else here is a hero. So we love that. We are running a whole new world. So again, we've got shift lines here. We're running a 4-1 Cinderella line. And of course, Cinderella gonna sing these early songs. We're running a 4-4 Robin Hood. So we may want to play into the whole new world again, play out a lot of cheap heroes with Philatites. You wipe them, great. Never mind. I played whole new world and now I'm ready to do it all again. But yeah, with Rockstar Stitch, hopefully we're going to get Philatites out, get this Rockstar Stitch out, and then hopefully play loads of adoring fans, and they will all be heroes. The 4 Cinderella, the 4 Stitch, the 4 Robin Hood, the 4 Simba, and the 3 Piglet. So yeah, this could be pretty spicy. 2 Ling in this deck. Again, nearly all our characters are heroes, going to help us fix maths. It's also going to keep Robin Hood out of Madame Medusa range, and it's going to keep Rockstar Stitch out of Madame Medusa range. Ling, man, I'm telling ya, Ling. You notice we're not running Beast Tragic Hero. You could if you want. Again, there's nothing wrong with running Whole New World and Beast, so you've got different options for drawing cards. And again, we're running Ling, so he's going to help keep the Beast out of range. So if you want to find room for the Beast, be my guest. We've got 4 copies of the Prince here, an extra Bodyguard, protect these important characters like Piglet and Philatites. And again, he's a hero. Just run with 1 Rapunzel for the draw. Again, if you want to lean more into Beast or more into Rapunzel, be my guest according to your preferences. Talked about everything here. We've got the 3 bare necessities. Hopefully snipe their Whole New World if we're drawing through Rapunzels and Rockstar Stitches. Get rid of the Be Prepared, the Grab Your Swords, all that stuff. And then a pretty standard song package. 4 Storm, 3 Raging Fire, 3 Along Came Zoos. Oh yeah, and we're running Lanterns, of course. Hopefully play out more characters. I always think Steel Amber Songs with Wheel. I think Lanterns the right way to go. And again, with Rockstar Stitches, we just get more bang for our buck, more utility out of our ink. And again, that is the point here with Philatites. We want to get him out and then play out as many heroes as we can. So if you're itching to try some Philatites, I think this is a good starting point. Next up, we got some Location Burn. Now, right at the beginning of set 3, this was one of the first decks that I featured, and I really enjoyed it. It proved to be quite popular as well. And similar builds went on to do quite well in the set championship. But yeah, this is my first iteration of it for Ursula's return. So yeah, we're just taking advantage of lots of locations. Our thought trail is all your fancy cards that are going to remove characters. Who cares? I just won't play many. I'll just focus on locations. And the only characters we're playing here are serving unique purposes where basically they've served their purpose as soon as they've come down. So if they do get removed, it's not the end of the world. We're running 4 copies of Minnie Mouse as to be our only 1 drop. We need something to contest that early. Oh, to be fair, we're running 4 Portugal, of course. But yeah, if we need a body, and again, just better odds at hitting a 1 drop. We need something to contest. We're also running 3 copies of Teeth and Ambitions because we do need to respect the Diablo and the Pegasus, and we don't have a lot of ways of dealing with them, unfortunately. So Teeth and Ambition is quite an important piece for us. 4 copies of Grandma Tala. Again, if she's removed, we're ramping, so that's what we want. We are running 4 copies of Flavisham. We have like next to no draw, and again, in all likelihood, he's not gonna get a quest off. He's gonna get removed straight away. But hopefully, just the draw 2 that we get when we put him down is enough, and then we find another one and we can do it again. So even if he never actually gets the chance to quest, we're hoping that just the come into play ability from Flavisham can keep us resourced. And again, we're ramping, so hopefully we can get control of the board quickly, get a really nice tempo, Be Prepared off or something like that. Running 2 copies of Hercules, Daring Demigod, who I have actually found a home for. Bivens, rejoice! Bivens, are you watching? Rejoice! We may have a use for him. I still don't think it's going to be great, but a use! But yeah, again, we need to be able to answer the board and control the board. Maui puts in a lot of work in that vein. But yeah, think of this as just 5th Maui, but I've gone with the 2 copies of Hercules Daring Demigod because this is an answer to Queen's Castle. Also answers Cinderella Stout-Hearted. If you'd prefer to go 4 Maui, just 1 Hercules, then be my guest. But again, these board response cards are really important, and we often have access to them from turn 4 because of us ramping. And again, uninkable, not as big of a deal because we're running Fishbone Quill, so that really helps. Of course, the Maui, as I mentioned. I am running 2 copies of Jim Hawkins. I honestly think this is flex. I think you could absolutely cut this Jim. Anytime I post a deck which got locations, it's always like, where's Jim? I don't know, I just don't always think it's like the location needs to be worth rushing in, I think. But we are running 2 copies of RLS Legacy, which is basically the only one that really benefits from Jim, because obviously it's 3 to move to RLS unless you have a character there. So you rush Jim in with it and then you can move other characters there for 1. So I think 2 copies is fine. Again, if he's rushed in the location, then he's served his purpose even if he is immediately removed. He is naturally out of Medusa range, but again, because of Ice Block, we can't always trust that. But yeah, I think Jim is flex. And again, the point of this deck is to win. We don't play many characters. Like, all decks are built with these big removal cards. So just that's where this deck is going to shine, in the fact that it just doesn't care about their removal. So I really wouldn't up the character count. If anything, I would lower it. Flavisham we need for draw. Grandma's good early game and ramps us. Minnie's good because it works with Teeth and Ambitions, and we need some sort of some semblance of a 1-drop. The Hercules and the Maui are there to just respond to big board threats. So I think even 2 Jim, I think he's gonna. You could perfectly words are so hard, bruh. You could get rid of Jim, and I think it'd be fine. 4, develop your brain to find key pieces. 2 copies of Brawl, that's another answer to Diablo, and again, other characters opposing Flavishams, etc. And then our ramp, we've got 2 1 jump ahead, 2 how far I'll go. You could up these counts. I'm trying to be cautious of Ursula Deceivers, but you could up these counts if you wanted to. I think raising the 1 jump ahead count makes more sense than how far I'll go. But then again, how far I'll go can be sung by Hercules and Maui, and it's helping you dig for pieces. So yeah, you could mix around with these if you wanted. 4, be prepared. Again, we're not really trying to play characters to the board. We want to use locations, and again, if we can get a couple of locations down after a big be prepared, then that's brilliant. 4 Porp, again, to help us draw and to work with Flavisham. We've got Fishbone Quill to accelerate our ramp and get rid of get some of these uninkables out of our hand. Hard to defeaty so that we can ramp more without having to deplete our hand, and it's another item for Flavisham at the end of the day. And then the locations. I probably should have started with the locations. But 2 cost Inkable Montanui, if you've got a character there, then if it's banished, then it becomes ink. So really nice play quite easily on turn 3. We can play Montanui and then immediately move our mini there if we want to go down that road. And again, it's 1 passive law gain, so they don't want to ignore it for long. 4 copies of Agrabah, again, it's just the 2 passive law gain, demands an answer. 2 RLS Legacy, 2 passive law, evasive of our characters is there is pretty cool. Again, we're not running a lot of characters, which again, I think is even more reason why you might want to cut the gym. But again, we want to play. We would play the RLS Legacy anyway, just because it's a bulky location. And then 4 copies of Mugduck Manor, again, bulky location that's getting us 2 lore. So again, just banish their field, equalize the field with Hercules, Maui's, be prepared, things like that, and then let your locations run away with it. And again, you might be tempted to add things like Medusa. I think if you're going down that road, you're going against the point of what this deck is trying to take advantage of. As soon as you do that, you're not really a location deck. You are just a red-blue deck, which is playing a couple of locations in it. But yeah, I think this could be a lot of fun. It's one I'm definitely keen to try out and do a proper deck profile on. Next up, we've got Jafar's Karaoke Party. Taking advantage of Jafar, who, when he's exerted, whenever we draw a card, we gain 1 lore, and we're pairing it with Amber. So we're playing lots of songs. We're trying to take advantage of second star to the right. The 10 cost uninkable. Chosen player draws 5 cards. So if we do this with Jafar, then we are gaining 5 lore. Plus just drawing 5 cards is good. In that vein of drawing cards, we're running 3 copies of Chernobog's Followers to be one of our 1-drops. We've got 4 copies of Merlin for the consistency. 4 copies of Friends on the other side, and 3 copies of Surfer Stitch, who are gonna, again, if we've got Jafar exerted, then as well as drawing, we are gaining lore. We've got 3 Olaf to go with these 3 crabs so that we've got some board control. 3 Pascal for the evasives. 4 Kuzco, we don't have a lot of 2-drops. We might be playing Bare Necessities on turn 2 to try and snipe the Fishbone Quill or something like that. But I think Kuzco's nice. It's another card that can draw. We're, of course, running 4 aerials to hopefully find our songs, Bare Necessities, Friends, Look at This Family, and Second Star to the right. And 2 aerials on board continue Second Star to the right, running 4 copies of the Lamp Thief Jafar to be one of our shift targets for the Striking Illusionist. And this is going to help us a bit with, again, manipulating the top of our deck. So maybe we're not ready for Second Star to the right. So we're not drawing that early, or again, just putting whatever we don't want to see to the bottom of our deck. 4 Fox for board control, Crab for board control, 4 Rapunzel. Oh, that's another way we can draw cards. We've got 4 Rapunzel here. Not a lot of big bodies to take advantage of. I think a lot of the time we're probably only drawing 2 cards, but we are running 2 copies of Keeper of Secrets Jafar, who has 5 willpower, so maybe we can get a 3 draw off of him, and he's another shift target for our Jafar Striking Illusionist. 4 Rabbit, as I said, 2 Pete's Pan Shadow to be an evasive answer more than anything for the Diablo, because we do have Pascal plus Crab, but that never feels great, so it's nice to have this Peter Pan Shadow to come down immediately. Bare Necessities to snipe away the songs of interest. Look at This Family to find the key pieces when we need them. Sometimes you need to fish for the Jafar, the Surfer Stitch, the Rapunzel, the Crab, whatever it might be. So, yeah. I don't think this is going to be among one of the better fun decks, but sometimes I think this could be a lot of fun, and if you can get off Second Star to the right, then that's always going to feel good. So yeah, by all means, knock yourself out with Jafar's Karaoke Party. Next up, we have some Emerald Sapphire items. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. I have put the Hidden Inkcaster into a deck. Enjoy it. Soak this moment up. because I don't think it's ever going to happen again. But yeah, we are all the way in on gaining lore courtesy of Aerial, Treasure Collector, 6 cost uninkable, 3/4, Ward. Thank the lords. Quest for 3, but if you have more items in play than your opponent, then it gets +2 laws. It becomes a 5 questing character. So obviously Ward is going to help a lot, get around spot removal, Medusas, etc. You really need to be careful of Lady Tremaine, so you need to make sure that you have other characters that you can play down with her. But yeah, we're hoping that she can quest us aggressively, or more preferably, we are utilising the 3 copies of Lucky Dimes that we don't even need to exert her until we're actually winning the game, because we don't want a vulnerable. We're also running 4 copies of Bell. Again, we're ramping and hopefully taking advantage of Dime. And I'm running 2 copies of the new Triton, Discerning King. 3 cost uninkable, 3/3 quest for 1. And you exert, banish one of your items, gain 3 lore. It's not a particularly strong card. Again, it's uninkable. But we are playing Fishbone, so that helps. And again, this can be a game closer if you get this down towards the end of the game. Answer me, or maybe that 3 lore is all you need to secure the dub. And those are our primary ways of gaining lore. Aerial, Bell, Lucky Dime, and Triton. Nothing else is really doing nothing else. So in that vein, we need lots of items. We're not really running lots of them either. We've got 4 copies of Porpsicle to be an item and to draw us a card. 3 copies of the Hidden Inkcaster, which is a 2 cost uninkable, which draws us a card and makes all of our every card in our hand has the Inkable Flourish. I'm running 19 uninkables, which is probably still too many, but we're running Fishbone Quill, so I think it's probably going to be as fine as it could possibly be. The Fishbone Quill, as I said, another item, help us ink, and the Lucky Dime really is one of our main win conditions. And we're running 3 copies of it because we want to maximise our odds with the Queen. The Queen, 3 cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 1, and exert. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an item and put it into your hand. If that item costs 3 or less, you may play it for free and it enters play exerted. So if we hit the Porpsicle, the Hidden Inkcaster, or the Fishbone, we can play them for free. If we hit the Lucky Dime, it only comes to our hand. But again, we are so all in on Dimes and Aerials and Bell. I think we need a nice high count. Hopefully we can replenish them with Tamatawa. And again, we're ramping, so hopefully we've got enough ink to do this. And yeah, I don't think this Queen is great. But hey, if we can get it down on turn 3, and then on turn 4, if we can hit one of our items, then great. And we can hopefully control it a little bit. We're running 2 copies of Aurora, Lore Guardian. I think it's Lore Guardian. 4 cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 2. Opponents can't choose your items for abilities or effects, so we're immune to Benja and item removal, which is nice. And Royal Inventory. Exert one of your items. Look at the top card of your deck. Put it either on the top or the bottom of your deck. So we go 3-drop Queen. Well, we need to get down an item, either Porpsicle on 1 or Hidden Inkcaster on 2. 3-drop Queen, and then 4-drop, we play Aurora. We can immediately use her ability to exert this item, and that lets us check the top card of the deck. And if it's an item, great, we keep it there so the Queen can grab it. Or if it's not, we hopefully at least give ourselves better odds. Again, not a great card, definitely a flex spot. And yeah, to support all that, we've got 4 copies of Pegasus. Again, we can answer opposing ones and hopefully cheat out some early lore. We've got 4 copies of Ursula Deceiver to snipe those songs. We've got 4 copies of Scuttle to help us find the Fishbone, find the items in general, find the Lucky Dime when we need it. We've got 2 copies of Diablo. It's worth us running this. We're not running a whole lot of 3 drops, especially if we miss our Fishbone Quill. Plus, again, if we went Ursula Deceiver on turn 2, we might see that they just don't have an answer for it, and then we might be more inclined to go down that road. And again, if they can't answer it, then Diablo is really, really strong. I've mentioned all of these. We've got Flavisham for some draw, because God knows we need it. 1 jump ahead on how far I'll go for ramp. Develop your brain to help find key pieces. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And you may be thinking, Baker, that all sounds terrible. But my question is, how are we contesting the board? And the answer is no. Alright, next up, you had to know that we were going to take a look at Pirates. Now, this is my really messy list. So, the thing with Pirates is that, unfortunately, they just don't really have much of an identity going for them. All they have is access to Jolly Roger to give them rush. So, if our Jolly Roger has been played and stuck, then Pirates have rush. that's pretty much the limit of like what they do and what they contribute to Lorcana. The only exception is John Silver, who is by and large the strongest. 3-cost Inkable 3/3, and for each location we have in play, he gets resist and an extra lore pip, so he can be really good. But the rest of the pirates, unfortunately, just aren't great. You'll notice as well that I'm not playing Donald Duck, the new legendary. I'm probably going to spend more time explaining this deck than anything else. Now, if you want to lean all the way into pirates, be my guest, play the Donald Duck. But what I've decided to do instead is lean a bit into pirates and then a bit into the Snuggly Duckling, which is a new location, 2-cost Inkable, 2 to move there, 9 willpower, no lore gain. And if you have a character there, if they challenge and they have 3 strength or more, you gain a lore. If they challenge with 6 strength or more, you gain 3 lore. So if we have pirates that are rushing, and most of these pirates are hitting for at least 3, in fact all of them are hitting for at least 3 because Captain Hook has Challenger, then as long as you're at the Snuggly Duckling, then you're immediately gaining 1 lore. There's also Captain Hook, who is one of the more unique pirates because he's got a Scar-like effect. When he banishes a character in a challenge, you can re-ready him. So if the opponent has a full board of things to challenge, then potentially you could do this multiple times with Captain Hook. And we're playing 4 copies of Lumiere, which boosts him up to that 6 strength we need. And Lumiere's got a lot of synergy here. To go with the Snuggly Duckling, I'm also running Gustav the Giant. 3-cost Inkable, 6/6. Quest for 1, this character enters play exerted and can't ready at the start of the turn, and break free during your turn whenever one of your other characters banishes another character in a challenge, you can ready this character. So again, if we're putting down Gustav on turn 3, then hopefully on turn 4, if we've got no other characters, then they're not going to see a world where we can ready him quickly. But if we can play then Jolly Roger and then Hook and then take something out, then there is some synergy there to be able to re-ready him. And if you can get him out and readied early game, what's dealing with him? He's out of range of nearly everything. He is going to put in so much work. My man's a tank. But yet in a perfect world, you go into your turn 3 when they have something already exerted and you have a Smee or a Captain Hook on board. And then you play the Gustav on turn 3, which they didn't see coming, and then your Hook or your Smee takes something out, he re-readies. And then turn 4, we can play Snuggly Duckling, and then immediately move Gustav to the Snuggly Duckling, so he is already threatening. If you exert anything, then I am challenging you, I am taking you out, I am surviving, and I'm gaining 3 lore. So that's the idea behind the synergy there, and again, locations work well with John Silver. We've got the Jolly Roger, just 3 copies to give rush to our pirates, the Snuggly Duckling, and then we're running some cheaper ones. Now these, you could play with these counts, absolutely. I'm running 2 copies of Nottingham, which is a 1/6, 1 passive lore, but only cost 2. Again, we want to be able to put out as many as we can so that we can boost John Silver. So I'm running 2, but again, Jolly Roger's already 1, Snuggly Duckling's 2, and then we've got 2 copies of Nottingham, which is also 2. I'm also running 2 Agrabah, which is a 3 cost, but you get 2 passive lore gain, and then I'm running just 1 copy of the RLS Legacy, which I think is absolutely flex. Now, you could absolutely play around with these counts. Maybe you want to go up to the 4 Snuggly Duckling. I don't think you need 4 Jolly Roger, to be honest. Maybe you want to take out these Agrabahs and just go 4 Nottingham, so that we've just got more cheaper ones to maximise the amount of lore that John Silver can quest for. I think that is perfectly reasonable. RLS Legacy is here because, again, it's a bulky location which demands an answer, 2 passive lore. If you can get characters there, then giving it evasive is pretty cool. You'll notice Jim Hawkins not in here. If you really want to play Jim, play him, but again, none of these other locations are really worth rushing in and then immediately moving to. You could argue Snuggly Duckling, and then Jim Hawkins, who has 4 strength, can immediately challenge. Well, not immediately, but he can gain 1 lore from challenging at Snuggly Duckling, but that's not great. Lumiere only puts him up to 5, so it's not enough. Overall, I've decided not to run the Jim, but if you want to run him, then I don't think it's a great idea, but be my guest. But yeah, these locations, again, you could absolutely play with these numbers. We've got 4 Captain Hook to be a 1-drop, contest the board, and again work with the Jolly Roger. Lumiere puts in a lot of work here. There's a lot of synergy. For a start, he puts a beast above Madame Medusa range. He also keeps John Silver out of Madame Medusa range, which is really important. As I mentioned, synergy with Captain Hook gives him that 6 strength, so that then he is proccing Snuggly Duckling for a +3 lore. So yeah, he's a nice math fixer. And then yeah, let's look at this Tuk Tuk. So this +2 strength can also be a way that we can fix our math. We can move Madame Medusa or the Queen of Hearts to the Snuggly Duckling, give them the +2, and then they're challenging for the right amount. And there is a world where you can combine Tuk Tuk and Lumiere, so that characters that are challenging for 3, such as Mr. Smee and Hook, they get a +1 from Lumiere and then the +2 from Tuk Tuk. So there are worlds where these smaller bodies can hit for the 6 strength that you need to proc Snuggly Duckling for its full value. In that vein, you could play Donald Duck because he has 3 strength. But again, I want to minimize. Again, we're already a combo deck. Let's try and prioritize the combos that require less cards. So it's nice to have the option of, hey, Lumiere plus Tuk Tuk makes Hook or Smee hit for 6. But Hook and Smee are already providing good value. Nice cheap 1-drop to contest the board. Smee contests the board and he gains a lot of lore. I don't think Donald Duck is worth it overall. I don't think his ability is all that strong. And yeah, Maui to contest the board, and he's already got the 6 strength that he needs. We've got Scar here. I think this is flex. I don't think many times you're going to get him at Snuggly Duckling. There might be times where you can. You would need to have already... If you have Snuggly Duckling already on board and 9 ink, then you can go Scar, move him to Snuggly, challenge. I don't think that's going to happen a lot. I think Sky is here more than anything just to be our mini Be Prepared, just to be a board wipe, an answer to things. But I think you could absolutely remove this Scar. I think he's flex. Queen of Hearts, we're lacking draw. It's what we need, so we want to try and get utility out of Queen of Hearts, put her down when we have a couple of characters that can already challenge into a couple of things and immediately draw a couple of cards. We are running the shift target, the 2-cost rush Queen of Hearts in that vein, but you won't always want to shift. Sometimes it's fine too, but Queen of Hearts is here more just another early an early drop that we can put down. I'm running one Fire the Cannons, which is nice on the draw against things like Robin Hoods and Pegasus and Cinderella Ballroom Sensation Cinderellas. Also Baboom to be another answer. Again, that's a good answer to those things on the play. You go Captain Hook or Jolly Roger on your first turn, and then their first turn they put down a 1-drop. We Baboom it straight away, but Baboom can also get around Diablo, but we're also running 2 copies of Brawl to get around Diablo, or Flavishams, and quite a few targets for Brawl. 3 copies of Let the Storm Rage On for some more draw and chip damage. And yeah, that's about it. And then yeah, 2 Medusas for some removal. So yeah, I don't know how good this is going to be. It's funny, I put this deck on Twitter with the caption, "Don't play this." And it kicked off. 13,000 people have looked upon this deck. And even some of the greatest minds have come out to Artabax we've got here. Even DeCandio took the time to put his stamp on this post that says, "Don't play this." The man agrees. But yeah, I've had some of the standard questions. There's only 4 pirates in here. I know it's a Stag Do. They've all gone to the Snuggly Duckling. Some of them have drunk too much. I don't know what to tell you. Someone asking why no gym, because we've got so many locations. Which again, I get it. I just don't think many of these locations are worth rushing in, and even RLS Legacy I think is pretty flexible. John T wants Gustav taken out for Pirate Donald. And hey, if you want the Pirate Donald, I would not take out the Gustav. I think if you're going to take out Gustav, take out Snuggly Duckling. I think he's one of your best pieces to like have that open early. So if you really want to play the Donald, then I would probably go -1 Scar, -1 RLS, and just play 2 Donald. But to be honest, if you're gonna, I would want a 3rd Medusa before I would want probably anything else. I don't think I would change much about these character counts. I think that the locations are the most TBC. I think you could absolutely go 4 Snuggly. You could instead go 4 Nottingham and no Agrabah. You could cut with the RLS Legacy completely. But yeah, that's my attempt at Pirates Stag Do. And last but not least, this has been a long old video. We've got some Emerald Steel Wheel. But I am taking advantage of the new Prince Philip, Vanquisher of Foes. 9-cost Ingable, 6/6. Quest for 3. Shift 6, Evasive, and Swift and Sure. When you play this character, banish all opposing damaged characters. So we're running 4 Tinkerbell to spread damage, Let Storm Rage On, again card draw, and hopefully remove important things like Diablos. Strength for a Raging Fire. fire sometimes can be a big pop if we've got a nice wide board, but sometimes it's just putting 1 damage on something so that Prince Philip can wipe them out. We've got 2 Elongame Zoos for spot removal and to help us with locations. 2 copies of We Don't Talk About Bruno. I am running 4 copies of Whole New World in here. Again, this is a wheel deck. We're running the Robin Hood line. We're running the Pegasus line. So we've got nice routes to wheel to try and get tempo as quick as possible, get a lot of value out of our hand, spread the damage, and then have Prince Philip be a nice big finisher. We've got 3 Grab Your Swords for more spread damage. I think Bruno is probably flex, but it's such a good card. I kind of wanted to find room for it. And again, you don't always go down the route of Whole New World, or sometimes they think you are, so they empty their hand, and then you can get a We Don't Talk About Bruno pop off. We're not running any other discard. We're not leaning into Prince John or any of the discard stuff. But yeah, our shift target for Prince Philip, pretty interesting, is Warden of the Woods, 4-cost uninkable, 3/4, Quest for 2, and Shining Beacon. Your other hero characters gain Ward. We have quite a lot of heroes. Our Robin Hood line is a hero, our Beast is a hero, and of course Prince Philip is also a hero. So not as many heroes as some of the other decks that we've looked at today, but enough. And again, just keeping Robin Hood and Beast, giving them wards so they can't be targeted. And we're also running 2 copies of Ling here to give them extra strength so that they're out of range of Medusa. I think this is really cool. And yeah, just again, if you put this down turn 4 and then you curve into Beast turn 5, then he's got ward straight away. So you should always get the plush draw. So I really like that. Morph to be a shift target for Tinkerbell, Robin Hood, the Beast, and Prince Philip. 2 copies of Diablo, again, make them have answers. We don't have a lot of 3 drops anyway. It's pretty much always either Shift Robin or Diablo or Ling. So I think this is a nice inclusion. Again, the Pegasus line is a nice line to wheel, and if they don't have evasive answers, then it's going to do a lot of damage. So yeah, I think this deck looks a lot of fun. I'm really keen to try out Prince Philip, and if you are too, here's a deck to give it a go. And that's it for 10 fun decks to try on day 1 of set 4. Like I said, these will differ in how actually good they are, but I've tried to build them all to at least have a chance and let you have fun with new cards and new archetypes. This video's got really overrun, so I want to wrap it up. You'll be seeing this on the Thursday the 16th of May, and then obviously the 17th is release day where I'm at an event and I'm going to be doing a lot of recording, and on the 18th, that's when you'll have my next video on the 18th, an event that I'm going to for release day. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful release weekend for Ursula's return. Whatever you're doing, I hope it's fun. Let me know if you'll be trying out any of these decks down in the comments, and if you do, let me know how you get on or any suggestions to perfect them. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.